So we are going to see more of NBA Live 18 very soon. We don't know whether the news is going to break as soon as we finish recording. That's kind of how it goes. That's why we pushed back last week's show, of course. But we figured EA plays right around the corner, so a lot of news is going to be coming out. And we mentioned last week, we got the question from Eric, who is actually going to EA Play, so a little bit jealous of that, obviously. But what are we hoping to see out of EA Play? Well, hopefully we're going to see a great report from Eric. Just putting the pressure on you, Q. But I mean, I really have two very simple statements in that regard. I'd like to see extended gameplay footage. You know, the cinematic angles are nice, but actually just seeing the game in action and seeing some of the improvements as it is, just raw gameplay, so to speak, and details on the one. And I want to find out what it is and how it's enhancing the game and what it means for the other game modes. Because I really want Dynasty and Rising Star and everything else that's if they're still in the game, I want them to be upgraded and looking pretty cool as well. So that's what I want to see. I want to see more of the game in action, just the game, and find out more about the one.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, in terms of that, I'm also hoping we learn more about some of the modes that are in it, and obviously some key features and things that they've worked on. And just the sort of general gameplay improvements that they've that they took this extra time in working on, and that instead of the game coming out like what was supposed to be in the end of the first quarter roughly and all that stuff. So
March or what we thought, something like that. Quarter 2017.
So here's hoping that we'll get to see a lot of that. I'm hoping that because I think they're doing some event like post sort of conference stuff. That we'll get to see, potentially two developers, or even like if they invite YouTubers and stuff play, maybe some people that have had like some experience actually playing for a few hours or a couple of days and all that stuff, just to sort of show the game being played properly. Because remember, we've seen a lot of like over the shoulder videos of people playing, and they might not necessarily be sports gamers, let alone basketball sports gamers. They might be there more for like Battlefield or Battlefront or Star Wars type stuff. So, their genre might be, but they might just sort of play just for a few minutes while waiting for their game, and that they want to go see. So,
I mean, the big thing we used to say about that footage is, people just run up the court and chuck up threes, but that is actually kind of the NBA now. So.
Yeah, so it is kind of more sim now, but we kind of admit we do want to see sort of game more shown at
by a sim gamer, like running plays and trying to play
played the way it's intended to be played, instead of just what would be more, I guess. I don't want to say no because
it's played.
I was going to say sort of something in an arcade sense, kind of.
Fair call.
Where it's just a running gun back and forth sort of thing, and then chuck up a shot. I was going to sort of say like NBA Playgrounds, but I didn't want that to come off as an insult because that wasn't where it was going to intend to be.
Two different styles, playing it like Playground, Street, or Jam, where those are totally different styles of play.
Yeah, I was just trying to make sure I didn't mess up my wording. So because from what what we said in previous podcasts, I enjoyed what I played with NBA Playgrounds and that. So that there was no way to make it an intent for an insult.
Sure,
that game is a good game for where they're going with it and the work that they've done post thing. So there was no way to insult. That was tried to avoid any of that sort of thing. So my apologies if there was any confusion.
But it's like you say, that some people don't make the game look good. There's been 2K games that have looked pretty awful, pretty ordinary, and people say, there's no improvement at all.
Yeah.
Well, it's people who don't really play the game over the shoulder shaky cam. You're really trying to glean too much from this? It's just...
or even like the Kobe Bryant PlayStation Move demo, that didn't go too well, all that stuff. So
the less about motion controls, the better. So we can...
Or even like the Pro-Am versus the NBA guys, like the tournament winners versus the NBA players. So there can be multiple instances of it's not like all based on one sort of company and all that stuff. So
no, I'm sure there was no problem. But That being said, what are you looking forward to seeing, Kenny? Obviously, some defense, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I not only want to see gameplay, but I want to see gameplay from multiple perspectives. Like, I want to see people who are really good at the game, but I also want to see people who are not so good at the game, and people who play in half court and run and gun and all that kind of stuff. I just want to see what this game can do, how versatile it is, how accessible it is to, I guess, a wide variety of people. But the most important thing for me is I want to see how they do an underwater court.
Oh, of course. Yeah. The most important part of any sim game, really.
Absolutely. I mean, NBA 2K17 didn't nail it, so, time to pick up your game, NBA Live 18.
Kermit was most disappointed. Do you think how much do you think we'll actually see? Are you expecting to be disappointed by what we see? Perhaps not the content, but the amount of content. Like, do you think we're going to be left wanting too much out of this event, or do you think it's going to be just this rush of information?
I think I'm going to be left disappointed, honestly, because no matter how much content comes out about it, it's probably not going to be enough for me. I guess I've kind of gotten a bit skeptical when it comes to NBA Live, but I really want it to succeed and everything, but at the same time, cautiously optimistic of it. I guess I'm a little bit. I'm being cautious about it.
Tempering expectations.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. It's not a bad way to be, considering that the series has, it has been a slow comeback since the reboot in NBA Live 14, but what we've seen so far is promising. So I'm hoping that whatever we see leaves us wanting more and feeling good about seeing more. I guess is the main takeaway.
Yeah. I think so.
If I can sort of elaborate sort of on what Kenny was saying, or if I can my thoughts, I think it can depend on how EA do their show, how it's how much time is allotted for it on stage, what they're focused on, how they're going to present it on stage as well, and then potentially post-show sort of thing. I think it depends on those sort of three things. I think that's for me where and how they'll get the information out right, or they'll, I don't want to say misfire, but there's a few things that they could probably improve on in that sense. Like I think given the expectations of E3 and how a lot of conferences go, a lot of people do hate on EA's conferences and all that stuff, and so I think last year's one, yes, they tried to do something new and all that stuff, and some things worked for it, some things didn't. So I think if they get the balance and the delivery right, and obviously not spend. I don't know, it's kind of conflicted, because if they want the games to do the talking as opposed to having someone on stage talking, like sometimes with FIFA that that someone, even like the whole thing when they did the whole journey thing and they had the guy on stage, kind of probably did go for a little bit too long in certain things, but the game mode in that they were delivering was really cool in what they were trying to do with it. So
a good mix of presentation and letting people actually experience the game, I guess, is what you're saying. Considering they're actually going to let the people play the game, and that's big, that they're actually letting people play the game, means they've got a lot of confidence in the product. That it's not just going to be a tech demo or a quick stage demonstration. So, that's hopefully they will strike that balance of people coming out and hopefully having positive impressions of playing the game, but also being able to deliver some prepared footage, showing the game, playing properly, and also explaining different things about the one and everything else. So if they get a good mix, then I think they'll avoid that controversy. I mean, it's EA that with their, they have the reputation they do. Some people are going to hate no matter what. As much as I hate the word haters and hating, there are haters out there, and certainly EA has done things to draw the ire of gamers. Certainly not going to deny that, but they are sort of fighting their own reputation sometimes. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, and like for me, it's something I've stated over the last couple of years. There's sort of been a slight change in terms of things, and they're trying to go back to the early areas where they're sort of even up into the 90s and that, where they weren't so hated in a lot of ways. But
They,
no,
they were
I
the
think,
premium brand. They were the premium brand, basically.
yeah, you know, most of the games that are owned, in fact, were EA games, or played, and in matter of fact, were EA games. Just sort of elaborating more on what I was trying to say beforehand. In terms of, I suppose, people who do watch E3 in particular, they do consider themselves hardcore gamers, and because EA has a lot of sports titles in that, a lot of those hardcore gamers don't consider sports games hardcore games, and they see them more as like dude bro casual type games. But I think in ways maybe they are. I can understand their side of things, but I think they're also a little bit wrong. I think given that we can be what we described as hardcore as well, so I think it's just the sort of same thing that people might be hardcore in MMOs, some might be like first person shooters and all that stuff in sport. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sport is its own niche thing. So I think those people would maybe not be as accepting as what a level of hardcore gamer is and all that stuff. I think they sort of I think
every fan base
sort of
and sort of demographic is sort of sneers a little bit at other demographics and feels we're the only true fans. You're just doing this silly thing. But that said, I think we've missed out on an opportunity to have a site called Dude Bro Gaming. It probably already exists, but
it would surprising. But yeah, and again, this sort of I think a lot of people. Sony's press conference last year was fantastic in terms that there was only really just a few minutes of talking, and the games spoke for themselves. They went bang, bang, bang straight with games and trailers and gameplay and trailers. So I think that's sort of the direction that a lot of the hardcore people that watch, or the hardcore market that watch E3 and all that stuff, that's kind of where the area of where they're wanting E3 to go, instead of it being like a talk fest / investors meeting and type thing where they're talking like stats and figures and all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think it's again just trying to get that right balance between getting the message out there and without it feeling dragged out or long-winded or just not presented well in a lot of ways. So it's a matter of maybe get a couple of things done on stage, and if they're doing like the site like post-show stuff, that's probably where they can focus on a little bit more of expanding on the message and that. So I think that's all coming back to those sort of three things and how they deliver it.
Yeah.
So that's basically the full circle and the chestnut of what I was trying to
sure.
probably allude
and
to.
That's definitely important that they do that and have a good showing, and hopefully the game that they do show is up to scratch and up to expectations. Fingers crossed. I don't have any further thoughts on EA Play. Looking forward to getting some more information. Any final thoughts, Kenny, before we talk about our week in basketball gaming?
I guess I'm just looking forward to what happens next and finding out more insights into the game, because at this point, I'm just excited about having a new NBA Live game.
Absolutely. Yeah. Here. And obviously a lot of people agree, whether it's people not really feeling 2K the last few years, or just having passion for the Live brand. There's a lot of people on social media, the NLVC and all the other people out there who really, the NBA Live committee, all the people who are really supporting Live throughout the years, really want to see it come back. So, as we all do, because 2 games fosters competition and encourages both companies to do their best and keeps them honest. So, fingers crossed, we've got some good news coming out of EA Play. Might have a lot to talk about over the weekend or next week on the podcast.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite times of the year.
Absolutely.